Hey guys, several times during this video I transposed the word condor for tops and vice versa. So if you have a propensity for thinking things like that are funny and you need to make comments about it, feel free to do it because I don't care. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Common Sense Outdoorsman. Today I'm going to talk about and compare two knives, and I'm inspired by Eric's knife review channel, spelled Airik apostrophe S, and I think he's going to have if he keeps making videos, I think he's going to have a really successful channel, and he's going to end up getting a lot of subscribers because he has a real good way about him, and I think he's very likable, and I think people are going to like his presentation method. So check his channel out. I'll leave a link down below, and I'll also leave a link to my two videos of these knives, and we're going to talk about the Tops Tanimboca Puukko and the Condor Trivittata Puukko knife, and two different companies, so I think it's a good comparison, and same designer, Goran Mihajlovic, I think that's how you say it. He's down in Colombia, I believe. Not originally from there, but he has some kind of an outdoor thing going down out there. He designs knives and makes knives, and he favors Puukkos. So these are both Puukkos, and he's designed both of these. And I just want to go over some fine points about these knives. I'm not in a hurry. This is unscripted. I don't script any of my videos. Sorry about that. I may make flubs and mistakes, and I may speak weird, and I'm a New Englander, so sometimes it's hard to, interject my R's into the words and stuff like that. So, and sometimes I get mixed up with that. But anyways, who cares? So I'm going to take my time, show you the differences and what these two knives are, and maybe it'll help you choose if you're in the market for a nice Puukko Bushcraft style knife. I think these will certainly be two that you want to look at, and there are differences and price difference and other differences. But anyways, let's talk about these knives. And so both designed, let me bring you in a little closer, bump, 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 and I'll go down to the table here so I don't have to strain myself. But so these two knives are similar, designed by the same person. This is the Tops on the top, and this is the Condor on the bottom. And I think both these companies have a reputation. Tops, I believe, has a reputation, I would say, for being expert in the use of 1095 steel. I think they do a really good job with it. And how they heat treat and what they do with their 1095, I think, is one of the best. Condor has built a reputation over the years. On the bottom is the Condor Trivittata Puukko, okay? And Condor has a different reputation. They're doing pretty good now. In the past, they've had problems with aesthetics and getting edges and grinds straight and all kinds of stuff, but they've done better and better. And this Trivittata Puukko is really pretty good. So some of the particulars on these knives, they're both the same length, just over close to 8 inches, about 7 3/4 inch each. The blades are about the same length. Weight, the Trivittata, the Condor, is 5.3 ounces. The Tops is 5 ounces. And the Condor Sheath is about 0.3 ounces heavier. So altogether, the Condor setup is a little bit heavier than the Tops. It's hard to tell the difference. The blade widths of the steel, the Tops is more like 1/8 of an inch, and the Condor is more like 3 millimeters. So the Tops is a little bit thicker. I don't know if you can tell by the video, but it is. I checked with my micrometer. Both micarta handles, both have a certain kind of red liners, and they are very, very similar knives. Now, some of the differences, I guess let's talk about the tops first, okay? And so the micarta handle on the tops is a little grippier than the Condor. The Condor is a smoother, more of a, not really extremely polished, but the handle is more polished. This is kind of the unpolished, rougher micarta, which I think gives a better grip. It becomes grippier, okay? It has a divot hole on both sides. I don't know if that would be a factor to you. I've never used it. It's not really a factor to me, but it's there. No lanyard hole, okay? No lanyard hole. This is more of a broom handle type knife handle. Does have 2 lashing holes towards the front, and it's got the 2 brass, I think those are brass screws or copper screws, something like that. The 2 screws, which throws some people don't like that, okay? The Condor, little bit different, more traditional bushcrafty looking, as it just has pins, no screws. It does have a nice lanyard hole. It is a little bit more ergonomically made. It does have a slight palm swell, and you can see that swell looking at it that way. It's got a nice pommel area. I love what they did with that, how it flares out nice and thick, and it flares out this way, gives it a little beak on both sides. Both these handles are excellent, okay? They're both excellent. I could go either way, but if I had to choose which one I'd like better, there is something magical about this Condor handle. It just melts in your hand like a glove, and what I really like about it is that because it has a little beak in the front, a little beak in the back, it kind of hugs your hand in there, okay? And those 2 beaks kind of tuck your hand in, and it really gives it a tight hold where you don't get that rocking. Now, the tops, Tanimboca, isn't bad, okay? It doesn't have, it has a little bit of a swell there towards the middle, and still, it fits good, it's comfortable. And it's really not gonna rock, but it doesn't lock in as well, and it doesn't feel as much of like a glove as the Condor does, okay? And not really a deal breaker for me either way, but I think I prefer the handle on the Trivittata, okay? Really, really nice. Let's talk about the blades, and we'll do the Condor first. So the Condor, that has a higher flat grind. I don't know, some people would call that a Scandi, but it did come with a more of a significant relief edge with a little bit of a shoulder on it, which I've since taken it down a little bit. Okay. Nicely done. Well sharpened. It came with a nice sharpening choil there. The plunge lines are, I don't know if you can see the plunge line, but the plunge line is fantastic. Tops has that reputation for precision build. It'll be odd if you get a Tops that's messed up. I mean, they really, they don't let stuff that's not done right out the door. I mean, their quality control is excellent. They purposely grind the spine so it's a sharp 90-degree angle, more so than the Condor is, but the Condor is still sharp, and they'll both do what you need them to do, scraping wood, scraping a ferro rod, whatever, but the Condor is a little bit sharper. Oh, HRC, I can't remember. I think the Tops is about, I think they're both about 58, 59. So I'd say they're similar. I can't remember exactly which is which, but I don't see a big difference So the flat on here has kind of like a gray finish. You can see the grind marks on the grind. It comes to a nice, sharp, fairly strong tip, okay? And then you can see the blade shape there. Now look at the Condor. Same thing, it has a flat. It's got the rougher finish on the flat, which I like. You know, one thing I like about Condor is that I just like that rougher, primitive look. As long as the knife is evenly done and there's no big mistakes and the grind is right and everything, I kind of like a rougher, primitive look. I think it's kind of cool, but same thing with the Condor, a nice, sharp, pointy, but strong tip, very similar. The grind is a little lower, but it's more of a, it's close. It came closer to a Scandi grind. It had a small relief edge. Mine did, not much. I took that down also, and eventually it'll be kind of a Scandi Vex type edge. But what I like about this blade shape is that it's got that nice, slow, continual curve all the way from the tip to the guard area. And that is perfect for working wood. And that's mostly what I'm going to do with these knives, is work wood. And that really, to me, as Morse Kohansky would say, is the best blade shape to have for working wood. And I agree with that. And you can see the tops has a little bit more belly hair. Still a great edge, still a great grind for working wood. But it's got a little bit more of a belly. So some may say that if you want a more of an all-around knife, maybe go with the tops, because that belly there would be better for skinning, because you got more of a belly. But you see how that slow curve is a little bit better on the Condor, okay? They both cut really, really well. These two knives, it's kind of crazy. I love them both. I'll take either one. You know, there are some things I like about one and some things I like about the other. Also, the tops on the handle, it's kind of feathered back a little bit. It's a little bit of a scallop there where the Condor is not. Most people, I think, would actually prefer this feathered back, like on the tops. I actually prefer it to be full up towards the guard, because, you know, if you're doing fine cuts and you want to grip it like that, to me, I just have more to grab onto. I kind of prefer that. I kind of like that feel. The tops is fine. I wouldn't throw the tops out of bed or anything because of that. It still works fine, but I just feel like with the Condor, I just got a better purchase on it if I'm holding in that way to do cuts like that, okay? That's just better for me. And again, you know, the pommel area is better for me. It gives you more to grip onto. And when you have them in the sheaths, both excellent sheaths, okay? Top sheath, both thick leather, good quality sheaths. The Condor sheath. Okay, the Condor sheath is a harder leather. The tops is nice and soft, a beautiful chestnut color. I think the sheaths today they get a little bit lighter. They're a little bit lighter, but I like this knife for me is older. I've had this for maybe a year and a half, 2 years longer than I've had the Condor. But this is nice, soft, and supple. Smells leathery. Holds the knife perfectly. It's easy to go in and out. The Condor is a little bit more snug in its sheath. Okay, you got a little bit more force on it, but to get it in and out, but that's not coming out either. But the Condor is easier to pull out because you got something to grab onto there. Okay, you got this, you know, hooky thing on the end of the pommel, so it gives you something to grab, and then you could put a lanyard on it if you want to pull it out. But it's real easy to go in and out. The Condor will ride deeper in its sheath, okay, and the Condor will ride lower on the belt. Let me go back a little bit. You see that? right there. The Condor will ride lower on the belt, which I enjoy more, but they're both fine on the belt, and I'd take either one. And they both look great. Both these combos look fantastic, I think, in their sheaths. I mean, look at those knives. I mean, they both look bushcrafty. Maybe the Condor a little bit more so, but both excellent. Good quality. The Condor sheath has a few rivet at the top and bottom. You could put a lanyard through there, maybe a leg lanyard, or if you need to do that. The tops does not have those rivets, but the tops has the double stitching. The Condor does not all the way. The tops belt loop is stitched. The tops, it has a rivet there. They're both solid, and I like them both. I think for me, the tops sheath would be more comfortable riding on my belt, but I like them both. Okay, no complaints about both of them. So which knife would you choose, or which knife would I recommend? I think, let's talk about price, because the tops, when I got this one a few years ago, I paid $90 for it, 90 or 94. The Condor today is going to be about 80 bucks. The tops today, you're looking at somewhere between 120 and 130 now. Prices have gone up, and the economy and inflation and all that stuff. So you're talking upwards, could be close to a $50 difference. So I think if someone went to see both of these knives, say if you went to a trade show and you handled them and you're looking at the price difference and what have you, I think most people who may not necessarily be knife, fanatics like we are, would probably choose the Condor, because that's a big price difference, $80 to 125, 130. That's a significant difference, and because of that price difference, I think if I were to recommend someone try out one of these knives, it would probably be the Condor. But they're both great knives. Watch my videos. I've used them differently in the videos, but I did put some use on them, and I've used them quite a bit since. Again, I like them both. I would take either one. The tops, I'd say, would be more utility style, and the Condor a little bit better for the Bushcraft stuff. Okay, but really, in most all ways, they're probably interchangeable, and most of it is going to come down to personal preference. Which one is going to outlast the other? Which one is going to be more durable? And which one is going to have the better steel? Everything seems similar to me. It's hard to tell unless I start using them real hard for a long time, and then maybe I can come back in the future and talk about that. But that's hard to say. I think probably tops would have the better reputation, but I have a lot of Condors in 1095. I haven't had a problem, and besides the earlier ones I've bought, 10, 12, 15 years ago that had all kinds of, build issues, that their 1095 and the way they make their knives now today, seems to be a lot better, and I'm a little bit pleased with that. Okay. So your top's edge, I think, is going to come maybe a little thicker, a little bulkier than the Condor. If you know how to sharpen and how to change that, it doesn't bother me. I make the edge the way I want it, but I think out of the box, the Condor may be the better woodworking, the better slicer cutter knife than the tops, but you could very easily, the relief edge on the tops, you could take that off fairly easy and make it your own. Okay, no problem there. So yeah, that's what it is. I hope this video gives you a little bit more information and insight on these two knives, and you can't go wrong with either one. Goran did a great design job, Both companies have done a great job in building these knives. And if you got any questions about it, hit me up in the, go ahead and ask the questions in the comment sections, and I usually answer. I'm not so famous on YouTube that I have too many comments that I can't answer. No, that doesn't happen. Hopefully someday. But yeah, go watch Eric's channel. He's seems like he's starting up again. Great presenter. I think you'll like what he says about these two knives. All right, so there you have it.